How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We are back with another FPL video, and today we're going to be doing the Game Week 10 edition of Buy, Hold, and Sell, where we take a look at a player to buy as they are either hitting good form, or they have really good fixtures coming up, a player you should hang on to as they maybe underperformed last week or were injured and coming off the injured list and could be straight back into our FPL teams in consideration, and players which you should probably get rid of and sell as they are either injured or just maybe their fixtures are turning bad, or maybe their form hasn't been as good or what we thought it was going to be. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Also, drop us a follow over on Twitter so you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from injury news to manager press conferences and anything in between, as well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. We will be doing a normal deadline stream this week on Saturday, 1 hour before the FPL deadline. I leave a pinned comment down below on all my videos to let you know when the next FPL streams are. So without further ado, let's talk about our partners for the FPL season with Fantasy Football Scout. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, they have a fantastic members area during the regular season. It's £25 for the membership, and that lasts the entire year. And during the off season, they give a 20% discount. But if you have missed that discount, fear not, you can still get the membership for £25, and it's fantastic. You can see the membership area just behind me. You have a bunch of different stats that you can use, powered by Opta stats, and create your own custom tables. You have the Rate My Team tool, you have the season ticker, player comparison tools, a whole array of things that you can use to help elevate your FPL game. So use the link down in the description below so that you can get access to these exclusive tools to help elevate your FPL game. Sign up now. So the last game week that we did for Buy, Hold, and Sell was for Game Week 8. So I know the graphic says last game week's picks, but it was the last time we did Buy, Hold, and Sell. And that was in Game Week 8, in which we said to buy Cancelo, hang on to Trent Alexander-Arnold, and sell Ben Rama. So we got a 3 for 3. Cancelo kept a clean sheet, one big chance, one chance created, 2 shots inside the box, 0.55 XGI. So potentially was unlucky to come away with just a clean sheet. Trent Alexander-Arnold got himself a clean sheet as well, getting 0.21 XGI with 1 chance created. Not really too involved in Game Week 8, although getting a clean sheet is fantastic. I believe this was the week after the international break, Game Week 8, so he would have been just coming back, and he came straight back in the team and got a clean sheet as well. And then lastly, Ben Rama, someone who did excellent for me at the beginning of the season, getting 2 double-digit holes in the first 2 game weeks. I said it was time to sell. West Ham are cooling off a bit, and Antonio would be the only one to potentially hang on to. Ben Rama didn't do as well from an attacking standpoint. Did get 3 points, which is better than 2, I guess, with the clean sheet point. 1 chance created, 1 shot inside the box. Not really what you're kind of looking for. You want someone to be a bit more involved. So it was right to sell him in that game week as well. But let's take a look at another Man City player that we're probably going to be putting on our buy lists for this game week. And that player is Phil Foden. He did excellently in the last game played, getting himself a couple of goals. Was a bit fortunate on one of them, I will say that, but all things considered, he's looked fantastic and can play a multitude of roles. He can play in the false 9 role for Pep Guardiola, wide left, wide right, in central midfield as kind of the David Silva left-sided central midfield role, and he's only 8.1 million. It could be going up in price if he were to hold again. Only 10.1%, which isn't actually that highly owned. A lot of us managers have at least Cancelo in their FPL team. Some have the double up in defense with Diaz, which I do as well, and are looking for that potential third Man City slot, because it looks like at the moment Liverpool and City are blasting teams out of the water, and I think that we're going to have to look for someone that's going to be nailed on as much as possible for Man City in order to get the best value out of him. I think Phil Foden might just be that. He was rested in the Carabao Cup and came on as a substitute, but unfortunately missed a penalty, which was the only one that cost them their place in the quarterfinals for the Carabao Cup. So City's not going to be winning it this year, but nonetheless, Phil Foden, his on the field stats in the Premier League have been very good over the last 4 game weeks, because that's basically all he's played. 3 goals, 2 assists, 4 big chances total, so 3 out of those 4 were taken by him. 7 chances created, getting a lot of shots inside the box for someone who is kind of doing part-time as a false 9, part-time as a left-sided central midfielder, part-time out on the left wing. These stats are definitely very encouraging. And his next couple of fixtures, you know, are pretty good. But Man City, I mean, just like Liverpool, they could potentially beat anyone 5-0 on their day if they're up for it. Crystal Palace at home, a fantastic fixture. Man United away, their form hasn't been great either, so they could rock up to Old Trafford and do some damage potentially, although it's typically favored United over the past few years, especially with Solskjaer in charge, which is one of the very weirdest kind of dynamics between him and Pep. Then Everton at home, not great defensively. West Ham at home, that should be pretty straightforward as well, and more of a training exercise because West Ham are going to probably try to park the bus and hit them on the break, as is David Moyes' kind of go-to style, more counter-attacking with Antonio. But Phil Foden has been fantastic, kind of the key to everything. We were always waiting for, depending on, when him and De Bruyne come back, what's the system going to look like? And it seems to favor Foden. De Bruyne is probably going to come back in as well, and I just think that Foden could be quite key at 8.1 million. Will probably be 8.2 million by the time you go to watch this video, almost certainly, as he's likely to go up in price. I'm recording this on Wednesday, so you'll probably see it if you're in the UK, probably Thursday morning. So yeah, he could be already up to 8.2 million, but a lot of managers are going for him. I know Gianni from FF Scout, he was kind of, hyping him up as well. Late Riser jumped on that train as well. And I'm just thinking maybe he is the one that we want to go for. I kind of wanted to have a kind of mid-price slot on my wildcard. Didn't end up going for it. I kind of wish I did. And maybe it was Phil Foden being the one, but it's a close second to, Mason Mount being his close second. Probably a bit over the top with Mason Mount because he got so many points in just the last game week after basically doing nothing when I had him. So I think Phil Foden is going to be the more dynamic player, the more player that's likely to continually provide, goals and assists on a regular basis, getting double-digit hauls because he's just so good. And I think Pep Guardiola knows that, and it's finally this is going to be the season where Phil Foden's game in, game out. He's going to be on the team sheet 8, 9 out of 10 weeks, and he's going to do some serious damage in FPL. So I think he could be on the buying list for a lot of managers this week, and he's only 10.1% owned, so which isn't much. Once you start to get to 20, 25%, then it's kind of more of a template sort of pick, but he's still relatively low owned. Maybe managers are giving him one more game week to see if he's still involved as well. Now, with that being said, Phil Foden being a fantastic player, there was one player that FPL Twitter jumped on the bandwagon, but blanked in the last game week, and I would say probably should hang on to him for at least one more game week. And that player is Kai Havertz, someone who was very heavily involved in a lot of FPL managers' teams this week. Some even captained him over Mo Salah and got burnt for that. Currently the same price as Phil Foden. I think personally he's a hold this week, especially with Newcastle away and Burnley at home. Now, you still have to pay attention to the press conferences because if Tuchel comes out and says, hey look, Lukaku's back, he's going to be in the starting lineup this weekend, then there would probably be some concerns over Havertz playing because he could put Ziyech there, he could put Alonso in the front three, we don't even know. Or he could just go with the front two with just Lukaku and Mason Mount and play an extra body in midfield like a Loftus-Cheek or somebody like that. So I would say he's a hold with that criteria being not met, basically. So if Lukaku's so injured, Havertz definitely a hold. Only 7.4% owned, and I think the majority of those managers that brought him in was this week to even elevate that ownership up high as it is. Just the one goal across the whole season, not many big chances with just 2, 11 shots inside the box, but his stats over the last 4 game weeks have not been great. Doesn't look involved. Only 2 shots inside the box. No big chances. 0.16 XGI. So he's just not involved at all. And even in the 7-0 game, you'd have felt hard done for him to get nothing. I believe he was actually the only Chelsea player that didn't get a return, whether it be a clean sheet, assist, or a goal, which is just crazy to even think about. And it's a bit unfortunate. Would I have captained him if I had brought him in? Probably not. I would have still probably gone Salah just because it is the safer pick. And you just don't know with players that haven't been performing. Salah had the form. United had the poor defense. Even though I hate to say it, that being a United fan, it wasn't great watching. But at least my FPL team did okay. So I kind of did 50-50. It was like if United do well, then, hey, United won. If, my FPL team does well, then United probably lost in that case. But, yeah, it is what it is. But with Havertz, probably wouldn't have captained him. But I still think he's definitely a good hold with Newcastle and Burnley. If Werner's back or Lukaku's back, then it becomes a bit of a problem. He scored in the Carabao Cup, which saw Chelsea go to penalties and ultimately go through versus Southampton. He scored in the Champions League as well, so he is still getting goals. It's just not in the Premier League. And I think that you probably should be expecting a goal from him, or at least a return this week, coming at Newcastle away. Newcastle are just in the Steve Bruce or not, the team's just not good. They need investment, and they're going to get that and just get them while they don't have the players that they need, basically. So I think if you have Kai Havertz, hang on to him. Wouldn't captain him this week. I can see the potential to go from him to Phil Foden, but I would say probably look at other avenues. I would say hang on to him. If Lukaku's back and Tuchel says, yeah, Lukaku's coming straight back in, then I would start to worry. Maybe go to Mason Mount just for security of starts, and that would be still risky as well. It would be a short-term move as well because you have 2 fixtures, and then you have Leicester and then Man United, which on paper are more difficult fixtures than what they would have in their next 2 game weeks. And there's an international break sandwiched in between Game Week 11 and Game Week 12 as well. But Kai Havertz, definitely a hold for me this week. If you have him, hang on to him. Wouldn't captain him. Would probably go for Salah. But I think he's going to get a return for you this game week. And lastly, the player that I think that you should sell this week is Michail Antonio. Now, you're probably thinking, Pilot, you're a bit crazy. Antonio scored last week. Why would I even go and think about selling him? Hear me out on this one. I didn't change the ownership on him, which is it's definitely not 7.4%. It's still very, very high. I want to say it's somewhere in the 40 or 50 mark. It could be even higher. I'm not even too sure, but it's definitely not 7.4%. It is much higher than that. But the reason I would say to sell Michail Antonio is he has Aston Villa away this week, who I don't think are going to be anywhere near as bad as what they were versus Arsenal. And then he has poor fixtures afterwards with Liverpool and Man City away. I also think that with Antonio and West Ham in general, they seem to just be kind of nicking games. They only scored just the 1 versus Spurs. They didn't score any versus City. So it seems like when they play difficult teams, they kind of revert to type and they kind of don't really adventure too far up the field. Yes, it was a rotated team in the Carabao Cup, but Antonio he's not putting up the same stats as what he was. If you look over the last 4 game weeks, just 2.46 XGI. That's nowhere near what he was doing at the beginning of the season, where he was like 3-4 plus. And he was getting all these sorts of shots on goal, shots in the box, chances created. He's actually been creating more chances than actually been getting big chances himself, which means less points overall. But he has no assists to show for it over the last 4 game weeks, which isn't great, which means that the players around him are underperforming, and he's still trying to tick along, which, isn't ideal for his FPL points. And you can see just the 2 goals, they were a couple weeks apart that he scored those, one last week and one like a couple weeks ago. So I think if you still have him, I would potentially look to sell. The only trick is who are you going to sell him for? Because all the forwards at the moment aren't great. We really need like a Calvert-Lewin or a Bamford or something like that to come back in to shake things up. I think potentially Hwang could be quite good. I think he's 5.7 million at the moment as well. Gabriel Jesus would be the interesting one that I would potentially look for. I think he's 8.5 million because I think he started the season off at 9 and has just gone down, down, and down. And I think he could be very interesting playing out on the right-hand side, getting really involved. Maybe if you go with the double up with him and Foden and have Cancelo as your kind of defender for Man City and have that triple up, that could be quite good. And I think in the long term, Pep might favor that. Gabriel Jesus has also come out in interviews and said that that is his favorite position, and he looks way better on that right hand side, and it seems like that's Pep's kind of favorite players. He likes Grealish out on the left, he likes Foden in the false 9, he likes Jesus out on the right, likes KDB as one of the players in midfield with Rodri, and then like Gundogan or Bernardo Silva, somebody like that. And I think that's what he's going to stick with. So Antonio could be on the chopping block for me. If you can, you could probably hang on to him for 1 more week, but I would say game week 11, definitely get rid. And then there's a few game weeks down the line, closer to the Christmas period, where his fixtures get really good, and we definitely want him back for that. But you might gain some value by selling him right now, and he'll revert to close to his original price tag, and then you can buy him back for a little bit cheaper potentially, which is always what we want in FPL. Sell high, buy low is how it would normally go. But let me know in the comments down below. Am I crazy to say to sell Antonio? Do I think hanging on to Havertz is a good idea? Is Phil Foden the best buy this week? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's going to do it for the buy, hold, sell in Game Week 10. And that is going to do it for this edition of Buy, Hold, and Sell. If you haven't done so already, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new or haven't done so already. It greatly helps out the channel, as well as turn those notification bells on so that you can get the content as soon as it is readily available. Drop us a follow over on Twitter so that you can keep up to date with any and all FPL news, from injury news to fixture changes and anything in between. As well as give us a follow over on Twitch so you can see when we go live for our preview and deadline streams. So we leave a pinned comment down below on all YouTube videos to let you know when the next stream streams are. And lastly, take advantage of the link in the description for the Fantasy Football Scout website so that you can get access to the Fantasy Football Scout membership area, which is going to help give you access to the Opta driven stats tables, which I use in all my videos, the ones that you see here as well. There's a little logo that shows you that that's where it's come from, as well as most of my other videos as well, and even on some of the streams we show you basically what the members area looks like and whatnot as well. So make sure to check that out. There's usually a preseason offer as well, but you get the same content no matter if you got it in the preseason or during the regular season. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Thank you all for watching, and until the next one, take care.